It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and we definitely way up today because Busta Rhymes is here.
Talk that talk. Talk that talk, boss lady.
Listen,
Come on.
Busta, I first want to talk about the fact that you have so many women that have been very instrumental in your career.
That's a
Before we
fact.
started this, we talked about Electra and Sylvia Rome.
Yes, Queen.
I saw your engineer posting about how excited she was.
Oh, Rebecca.
Is that her name? I just saw.
My tour manager.
Okay.
It's Rebecca Foss. Oh, no. Delaney.
Yeah.
Delaney.
So
Sonics
your
by
tour
Delaney.
manager, a woman.
No, yeah.
Delaney is a
Delaney.
woman who's your engineer,
Yeah.
which I feel is very rare.
Yeah.
In this business. And then the women that you have on the album, I saw your tribute to Missy Elliott, what you wrote to her.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the fact that you've always been so embracing of women, because this is an industry where that doesn't always happen,
Right.
both on the mic
Thank
and
you,
behind
Queen.
the scenes.
Thank you so much, Queen. For me, my greatest successes and my biggest support came from women, but the woman that it started with was my mom's, because my pops, God rest his soul, he wasn't a fan of none of this rap thing. Like his whole thing, he's the old-fashioned, stern, strong-willed Jamaican man.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing was, you need to learn this trade. I'm a licensed electrical contractor. I respect people that learn trade, and we live and we provide secure the stability for our families based on trade. So a bunch of his friends is carpenters and plumbers, and they do masonry and electricians, and he ain't trying to hear nothing else that is like a gamble in life that ain't got no history of stability.
Right.
Especially when it comes to lives that you got to be eventually responsible for once you start having kids and get older. But his thing was really, it was a real weird experience for me. As leaders in the new school, we did a amateur night at the Apollo performance one time. We had spent money to go in the studio. We working in Spectrum City at the time, which was the headquarters for Public Enemy in Long Island. They had a brother named Paul Shabazz that had a studio downstairs. And we save our money. We give Paul Shabazz some money. He let us rock, create our music. We created 2 songs. We saving money to make sure we got our fits and all of that. We go there, we do it. We got booed. My pops was there.
Ooh.
And he just hit me with I told you this was a bunch of bullshit and wasting your time with this dumb shit. And you need to just focus on, I don't want to even hear about no more of this rap shit. So my mother was way different. My mom's was with whatever I was with as long as it kept me out the street.
Mm-hmm.
So she would cook food and bring it to the studio for me, Dinko, and Brown.
Oh, that's nice.
Just to make sure we wasn't running up in a Chinese food spot all the time or the deli to get sandwiches that...
She's like, I'm just happy to see my son in some place.
Yeah, because
passionate about something.
That's a fact, Angela, because, I was finding mischief in Brooklyn, which is why she took me out of Brooklyn to take me to Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, my mother signed my deal when I was 17 because I wasn't old enough to sign it.
Right.
So that support led to me ultimately being able to tell her she could quit her job once I got kicked out of Leaders and I got my solo deal.
Right. Man, can we go back to getting booed at the Apollo, though? That had to be such an awful feeling because everybody... Like, what was the rest of that night like?
Nah, there was tears.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I cried. Like, that embarrassment, you can't... At that time, too, you didn't even know how to deal with that. So the embarrassment from getting booed and then getting dragged off the stage and then your pops beating you in the head with the shit talk.
Right.
All of that combined was a traumatic feeling for me. It almost made me feel like I didn't want to do it. And what kept me so determined though was, my pops wasn't the type of pops that gave me a choice. Like it was, you coming to work with me. So like on weekends, instead of letting me run around with the homies in the street and find mischief, I had to go work with him. And I'm in these abandoned buildings in Bed-Stuy and Brownsville and in Crown Heights that they was being contracted to, my father was being contracted to put electricity in the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
His homies would be the carpenters and the plumbers, and all of them would have different roles to play in the same construction that was happening in this building. Same work. So me being at work with him at 12, 13 years old, I'm trying to be a kid still. I don't want
Right.
to be there with him in these nasty-ass buildings. They was wet. They had big-ass cockroaches, rats running around, and everything was just nasty, filthy, and cold. And it was just that whole experience. It was like, I'm not.
I don't see
I'm
this
not
in my
doing
future.
this. Word,
Yeah.
I'm not doing none of this. Let me get this rap thing popping for real because, number one, I want to hit him with the I told you so. That what I thought I was passionate about and believed in, I was right about it, and I'm going to secure this win. And you're not going to deter me from this determination that I have to secure this win, number one. And number two, I don't want to come back to this work environment so much. I want to stay away from it so much that I'm going to become iller with the rhyme. I'm going to go to the extreme when I get on stage. Any opportunity that I get, I'm going to overdo it to make sure that I'm cutting deep into the souls of everybody that's watching me or that I get an opportunity to do it in front of again. And I also don't want to ever experience getting booed like that.
Right, that's
from the
tough.
Apollo
And
again.
when they bring that Sandman out, we think about that now. That is really like
Yo,
crushing.
the nigga come out there and do that little funny ass dance.
You're like, what? Yeah.
With the what? Yo, that shit is the worst shit. So for my moms, to Mona Scott, Young,
You're right. Mona Scott was your person at Violator.
yeah, to Rebecca Foster, my tour manager for 32 years, Mona Scott Young, she helped evolve me from just the MC and the rapper to the movies. She did all of the movie deals. She did all of the branding and strategic partner alliance deals with the Mountain Dew commercials that we was doing, and just all of the things that I got into to diversify portfolio. And then there was another woman by the name of Monica Novo that was very instrumental in me doing a lot of development property investing.
Okay.
So it was really a lot of women that was helping me secure my wins. Missy was another one that was like a source of inspiration for me to pull from, because she showed me so much love, being that I was out before her, and always made me feel appreciated for how much I inspired her. That when she finally delivered with what she was doing, and I heard how crazy she was with it,
Right.
she was inspiring me in return. And then what really gelled it was when she asked me to be on her first album, and I was like, I'm already OD fanning out on a low. Let me let you understand something. Not only am I gonna do this, but I'm with you forever.
Yes.
I'm gonna kill it, and whatever you want to do, let's do it forever. So it was just all of that, and then Sylvia Rohn going super hard for me, for Missy. You know, the history that I made with that woman and continue to make with that woman. She really she introduced me to everything, the different tax brackets, there was things that she did for me while I was going through. Wherever I laid my hat was my home, and sliding up and everything and acting like I ain't had no sense when I was young, and having multiple women pregnant. And I'm super blessed and fortunate that, you know, all of those relationships ended up being cool. But back then they was
It
challenging.
takes some time
It
to
took
get
a lot of
there.
time to
Yeah.
get cool.
And maturity.
Yeah, maturity for sure. My kids, you know, you never really get the proper manual or book on how to be a decent father. You go on what you was raised to do. And based on the way I was raised, I'm thinking that I'm doing everything right. But a lot of things didn't happen the way they were supposed to, because, you know, again, the conflicts with the mothers, it was getting in the way of me in the relationship dynamic with my kids.
Yeah, co-parenting is tough, and sometimes the kids end up being like the collateral damage in the middle.
For sure. And the beautiful part was the sacrifice that was made for me to win custody of 3 of my kids for one of my children's mothers, and having my mother there to help provide the stability while I was out sacrificing to secure the food on the table. It was such a needed component in my life, not only so that I could have my mind in a place of balance and focus, because I know they're in a good environment being taken care of. And don't get me wrong, the mothers for my children, they did an amazing jobs with my kids too, which is why I'm so fortunate with my kids now.
Oh my gosh, they're on the album. What a full circle moment.
So crazy to see. I got
The
one
legacy.
daughter. Yeah, thank you, Queen. I love that song so much.
It's amazing. Your kids are very talented.
Thank you.
Even if they wasn't your kids, it's still like it's a. And I'm sure you wouldn't put them on if it wasn't.
Oh no,
lit.
nah. It took time. That's a fact. Come on now, I can't be the bias pops with trash kids
It'll do
out
them
here.
more harm than good.
Yeah, it'll do me harm. Like, yo, Bus, come on, B. Like, we don't want to tell you this, but your kids is trash. Like,
Where's the Sandman?
But for me to see them blossom, Trillion was going in the studio making music since he was 12. He's 21 now.
Did he hide it from you at first?
Nah, he actually was excited about coming to the studio. What I had to learn to do was get out their damn way.
Yeah.
I'm hearing things that sounded wrong. I'm trying to critique everything, and it was just blocking their freedom to create. And I learned that I needed to leave and let them do their thing, and then let me hear that imperfection, because sometimes the imperfection is the perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started to hear the magic happening as they started getting older and more comfortable with the studio, it was like emotional for me, because I got records that I'm going to use that my second to my oldest son, Takai, produced for me with other MCs that's well-known MCs as collabs on his production. Trillion rhymed with me on the ELE2 album.
Wow, that's great.
Oh.
It's amazing to see all these artists who are now have kids who are in the business.
It's incredible,
It's
right?
incredible.
I love it.
Even like the Wu-Tang guys you see, Old Dirty Bastard, Jizza, you see their kids.
Absolute.
Are artists too.
The most phenomenal thing is that part. And to see when they actually do the job in an amazing way. I see Devon's son out there helping run the tour when we was out there with Wu and Nas. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that's what the evolution is supposed to be, right? And if it ain't that, then we doing something wrong. So, it's even more of a blessing to see when they choose that path on their own, and you ain't got to force them to go that route. Like, that's really the rewarding part of it all. But, Ange, I'm just like, I'm in a super happy space. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. And it's the reason why that's the constant narrative for me. My kids is grown. None of them is babies no more, even though they're going to always be my babies. And they getting busy and productive. And this thing happened this year where I was finally able to get all of my kids together. Like, since they've been born, I wasn't able to really do that.
Right.
Once that happened, it just took the joy and the happiness and the peacefulness amongst each other as a family to a whole other unbelievable and powerful place.
And that's when you were getting honored, right?
That was the first time they all been together since they've been born at the Lifetime Achievement Award for the BET Award.
That is amazing.
Since they've been born.
Do they speak to each other?
They've been speaking to each other. Like, that's the one thing, like, they've always wanted that.
Right.
That moment of coming together. They would, have their own individual conversations with me in one instance or another, like, yo, Dad, like, when we gonna get in this, I want a picture with all of my brothers and sisters in the same flick. Like, one son would say something like that. Another son would be like, yo, Dad, man, like, when I'm gonna meet my brothers and my sisters and be in the same space with them, like, we could go to the movies together. And then my daughter would be like, damn, I see how y'all be having so much fun when y'all be together, doing stuff together with you and my brothers, Dad. When could we get to do that with you and our brothers? Because I do it with them when I'm with them. But one lives in California. One lives in North Carolina. My 3 boys stay in New York with me, and then I have a son that's in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So, again, I had to make changes in my personal space so that I was able to do what I needed to start doing and should have done a long time ago for my kids.
And I feel like this is something you never used to really talk about.
Nah.
Right. So now that you're in a better space,
Absolutely.
And it's like a time of reflection, being able to be open about those things, because it does help other people too.
No question.
And it helps people to know your story, because I feel like even on this album, it's a lot more personal.
Absolutely.
Than things have been in the past.
Absolutely, Queen. And I'm grateful that you peeped that, and I'm grateful that I'm in a space where I'm super happy and comfortable enough to share that, because I really do want to share my joy and I want to share my happiness, because I ain't never know this level of happiness actually existed until now. And if it took all of these years for me to actually get to this place, every millisecond of the challenges and the obstacle courses was worth it, because it's so, let me tell you something. Sitting in my incredible hotel room during the BET Awards weekend and coming home from an after party after the BET Awards, which we had magical nights because we was out there for like 5 nights before the award show because we had to do rehearsals and all of that. Mm-hmm. But when we get to this night after the BET Awards and then we do the after parties or whatever, and we come back to the room, and it's late and they wanted some food, I sent my assistant to go get us all some breakfast food from Mel's Diner. And all of my kids is in the room with me. And we're looking at John Wick 4. And we're all watching a movie together for the first time. And then I start watching them fall asleep one by one. And I love the John Wick series, so I ain't going to sleep. They all knocking out one by one. I got one daughter, she's like up under me, snuggling with me under my arm, and I got my arm around her. She got her head on my chest. Got one son laying down with his feet up on the table. My other daughter's in a chair curled up. I got another son that's on the floor. Then I got another son that's on a lounge chair with his feet up on like a little awning that's like hanging out from the lounge chair. My nephew, he's sitting by the dining room table and he got his head down on the table. And I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I never seen all of my kids together sleeping in the same room before. And that was like a tear-jerking moment for me because it was just beautiful to me.
It feels like you have to plan more of these reunion moments.
Nah, we're doing it tonight.
Are you serious? Everybody's here? Okay.
Everybody's here except my youngest, Sicario. He's in Minneapolis because we couldn't get him out here soon enough for this event tonight because we got a private screening, which I would love for you to attend, a private movie screening at this incredible theater in Times Square, which I ain't disclosing on the air.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you all of the deets. And we're doing an album listening, and we're doing a making of the album documentary screening.
Ooh.
And we're also premiering all of the videos that we ain't put out yet that I shot already. And then we're listening to the album from A to Z. And then we're doing a Q&A at the end. And it's like from 7 to 10. So when we finish all of this and whatever you finish doing.
This is going to air tomorrow, so don't worry. Nobody's going to know about it till the next day.
Well, we're doing the AMC.
You like, might as well say it, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the AMC on 42nd Street.
You know what? I remember I was with 7th Streeter one day, right? And this is one of the moments in... I
love her, too.
Me, too. That's my girl.
Talented.
And this is one of the moments in hip-hop where there's a few times that I might be like, this is surreal. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Right.
But she was like, hey, come meet me. I got to go to the studio.
Right.
And so I came to Mira. She was going to the studio with you.
Mm.
And so we were in there, and you were playing... you had a lot of songs done already, and you were trying to figure out, like, what songs am I going to use? And so you were playing all these songs. I remember there was one that we really, really loved. I think it was a Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. And I just remember sitting there and be like, I can't believe I'm sitting here.
Was we in a studio called Windmark?
I don't remember what the name. It was in Times Square, though.
Oh, in Times Square. We was at Quad.
Yeah.
We was at Quad. That's the only Studio 7 come pull up to her to meet me at when she's in New York.
Because she's an amazing writer. And so she
incredible.
was like, come with me. And I was like, because I also always feel like certain people in their studio sessions, you don't want to be like, there and there. People work in different ways.
Right.
Some people don't like to have people around.
Right.
They like to keep it very closed off. But you were just playing some of the music, so we got to hear a lot. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is crazy. I'm sitting in the studio listening to Busta Rhymes. It just felt like a moment like, I can't believe I'm here.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank
you so much.
Because listen, I've been a fan since Leaders of the New School. When I was coming up, and y'all had like colorful videos in school. It was something relatable for me as a kid. It was fun. Your music's always been that. And so even back then, like, we don't know what happened because we didn't have social media. So when Leaders of the New School broke up and then you went solo, I had no idea, what was going on. Because I remember at first it was kind of about Charlie Brown.
Right.
it felt like...
It was always about Charlie Brown.
Okay.
No disrespect, though. Brown, rightfully so, you know, when I look back at it in hindsight, he was the plug to all of the connections. Because Brown's older brother, DJ Higg, was super close with Eric Vietnam Sadler and Chuck D and all of them and Flav and them. So that's how we got the opportunity to meet with them so we could get on.
Okay.
And then Brown, he kind of put us together. Like I wasn't rhyming when I met Brown. When I first moved to Long Island from Brooklyn, I was just a hip hop head. I was popping, breakdancing, doing a little graffiti, trying to be nice with the turntables on some DJ whatever. And I wasn't rhyming. I meet Brown in junior high school out there. So, you know, a lot of families was like me. They take their kids from the 5 boroughs and bring them to the island because we finding too much trouble out in the boroughs and in the hood. And Brown was from Queens. Dinkle was Brooklyn. I'm Brooklyn. And then there was another dude that was down with us before Dinkle came named Mystery. But he wanted to stay in the street with the hustling because it was taking too long to get on. But me and Brown, we in the schoolyard and Brown rhyming and I'm beatboxing for him. And I was like the kid that was from Brooklyn that there was this talk about me being this new kid in the school from Brooklyn. You know, whenever somebody is getting a little attention or a little talk, you know, Brown want to try to go and compete with whatever shine that's happening on this individual or this person. So Brown rhyming in the schoolyard, I'm beatboxing for Brown. Brown start dissing me while I'm beatboxing for him. I'm confused like a motherfucker. I'm like, yo,
I'm helping.
I'm like, I thought we was, you know, I'm doing this for you. But I'm so confused. I'm like, I don't want to fuck the vibe up. So should I keep beatboxing for this dude? This is how I'm questioning myself in my head. While he's still dissing me, and I kept beatboxing for him. I felt so disrespected and violated, and I'm saying to myself, I ain't walking away from this shit without smacking the shit out of this dude. But that wasn't the way to do it. I'm like, this is the reason that I'm going to start rhyming right now, because I'm going to disrespect dude tomorrow. I can't wait, and I can't take it. So I wrote a rhyme and came back the next day and bust his head in. And then he decided to create this group by saying, yo, you know, you nice. Your rhyme was crazy. You got it today. Let's get down with each other. I wasn't trying to pursue being on MC like that at the time. I ended up starting to rock with Brown. Then, you know, we met Mystery, and then we agreed on Mystery being in a group, and then Mystery, he bounced, and then Brown found Dinko, and Brown brought Dinkos. So, and then I brought Milo as the DJ because that's my blood cousin, his mother and my mother's sisters.
Okay.
At this point, between that, with Brown feeling like he kind of created the group, and Brown feeling like he was the plug to us getting access to the Chuck D's and the Eric Vietnam Sadlers and that whole Bomb Squad experience, he felt like he was the brainchild of the group. So it was, in his mind, it should be about him. Mm-hmm. When people started to hear me after the first Leaders album came out, and PTA and all of these songs, it became, yo, Busta Rhymes, this Dungeon Dragon dude, like he's crazy with this energy. And then when Scenario came, it's solidified.
Oh man, that was it. That was like, all right, it's solo.
So it shifted the attention from Brown to me so crazy that it became a serious turbulence in the crew. And at that point, you know, I'm the first one to have a child, but I'm the youngest in the group. And when we broke up, I definitely was scared to go solo because I wasn't even, I had not yet experienced what it was to take on the responsibility of putting the whole project together by myself. You know, you write your little 16 on a record with 2 other MCs, you out of there. You got your little 30-second space to rhyme, and then you gone. Having to do that times 3 verses and come up with the hook and do that for 10, 12, 14 songs by yourself, I wasn't with none of that responsibility. So when I had my child, all of that changed. And me jumping on everybody record to feed my child because I couldn't get show money because the group, I couldn't get the money without the rest of the group showing up.
Did they try to replace you at that time, or did they just disband?
Boss Rhymes is irreplaceable.
But you know how people will, they'd be like, okay, we're gonna keep the group going. We just
I don't know if they even tried, but I just knew that nothing happened with the group after that, and I was kind of forced to go solo because the way the deal was done, Elektra had us all still obligated to deliver projects as solo artists in the event of us breaking up ever happening.
They've seen that story before.
Way too many times.
That's why when Wu-Tang did their deal, it was so different because they all were still able to pursue solo.
The most incredible thing we've ever seen for the first time was when Wu did their business the way they did it. Because as the group, they were still able to go wherever else they wanted to as solo artists, which was groundbreaking for all of us. It was inspiring as hell. You know what I'm saying? So I had to rhyme on everybody else's record. Finding my way in other people's studio sessions, calling studio sessions. I was already cool with all of the studios. I was cool with the receptionist.
That's how you got to get in good with the receptionist.
Got to get in good with the receptionist. They're going to tell you who up there. When they leaving, you get to calculate how much time you got to come up there and walk in their session.
Yep.
Got enough time to calculate when you're going to get the good weed so that when you pull up, you roll that weed when you walking in the door, you pass the blunt around, niggas can't kick you out the session until they give you back your bud. You write a verse quick enough before the weed come back to you, these niggas got inquiring about what you coming up with in the corner. Let me get in the booth. I'm in the booth. Once I spit, you can't hear the record no more without the rah-rah like a dungeon.
Oh, yeah, it's over.
It's over once I did that.
What did your dad have to say at this point when things did start working out?
He definitely was respecting it, but he still wasn't giving me the confirmation until after Wuhan went platinum in the first 6 weeks of its release and the Coming album went platinum, I would say within 6 months. No, about 9 months, almost a year. When the renegotiation for When Disaster Strikes album happened, and that bag came, and then the publishing deal that we did that went with that bag from the album deal came,
he's like, you might got something here.
Nah, this is when he respected it. Because my pops, him and his crew, they was kind of show off. So we had this one uncle that, his name was Uncle Baba, and he owned a bar. And he was always with the fly whip, the little Benz and the Cadillac and the pinky ring, and he always had people coming in his bar to entertain the nightlife thing, and he was just a fly dude. And my father used to always big him up because of his whole drip and his swag at the time. So I put the nice presidential rollie on his hand with the diamond bezel, and I put a mean pinky ring on his finger with some good clear VVS's, and I got him a incredible S-Class Benz, and he was able to pull up on Uncle Baba and walk different. He was like, oh, so you got money to do all of this at once for me? I see that you figured it out. As I hit him with the exact shit he said to me at the Apollo. I told you. I told you so.
That's an amazing feeling.
The most amazing feeling ever. And he rode with it. He was forced to, he's gonna respect it if you force his hand and respect it.
Right.
Earn it. That's all he's on that. Earn my respect, and I'm with you.
I know you said you've been working on your documentary for like 8 years now. Is that how long?
Yeah, it's about 8-9 years now.
8 or 9 years? Mm-hmm. Where does it start?
It actually starts from birth.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with my moms and my pops before they had me. Just so I could give a little understanding on why I'm the way I am. They humble beginnings, what they came from, what they stood for, and that respect thing and that integrity thing and that family, that love within the family was super strong in the crib, and the Christian faith was super strong in the crib. And the respect thing was at the ultimate level of zero tolerance. Like, you can't respond to my mother or my father without saying, yes, dad, no dad, yes, mom, no mom. You can't acknowledge them how you would acknowledge your friend in the street. Because as far as they're concerned, they're not your friend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, that whole way that I rock with my kids now, like, we could be in a club and,
that would not have happened with
it. Never happened. You know what I'm saying? The most that I was able to actually chill around the company was when, I was able to entertain the company my moms and them had when they was playing music, and I get on my James Brown split shit so that I could avoid the 9 o'clock curfew to go to bed.
You was doing James Brown splits.
I was nice with the James Brown split. You couldn't tell me nothing. And all of that showmanship came from just not wanting to go to bed. You know what I'm saying? And one thing led to another.
It's really their fault.
Well, it's my mom's and them fault. I ain't never want to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I would perform. I would find a way to distract them from paying attention to that clock. And then, sometime when the family and friends come over and they sipping a little bit of that fire water, and they got some of that fire water running through their vein, and they're a little nice and saucy, they forget to watch the clock. So I just was rocking them until they started to feel like they wanted to go to sleep. And that was my way of finagling a lot, just being able to entertain my family. So,
how did you break the news when you were having your first child?
Interestingly, Caribbean people is interesting in this way. My mother would dream about fish and shrimp and lobster if I got a woman pregnant. And she would come to me and ask me if I got a woman pregnant before I would tell her.
Ooh.
And then she would be like, last night, 2 nights ago, I dream about fish. I'm a dream about shrimp. I'm a dream about some lobster and crab. So we have pregnant.
Got me.
Yo, Angela, I ain't even gonna front. It used to scare me because I used to be like, I'm already 6 to 8 weeks into knowing that this is a real situation. And I don't want to say nothing until I confirm. So I'm waiting until the blood test. With the mother of my 3 boys, I was excited because we was in love like that at the time when I was in high school. But everything else after that, it wasn't relationships that I wanted to, get into that level or that dynamic because those relationships wasn't as in depth.
Right.
Obviously you want to be sure that you want to do this with the woman that you're doing it with before you do it. And be very clear that that's the woman you want to do it with. And even at that age when you think you want to do it, you ain't even thinking of the right way about how to choose the right woman to be the one that you get pregnant or to mother your child. So, again, like you said, that you young, you immature, you ain't going about nothing right in life. So that's how it used to come to me. My mom's was really strange and accurate with them lobster and crab and shrimp dreams when a woman was pregnant.
And you think because you were still in high school, right, when you had your first the first one, with the mother that you were with in high school and onward, you think dynamics changed when you started to really have to be like on the road and be Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, I think it definitely created some turmoil with me and the mother of my child at the time for my 3 boys, who again was my high school sweetheart. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, though, she was a little character too, running around here.
Well, you guys were young.
Yeah, we was young and we wasn't ready to be serious in a relationship, but we did love each other and we was in love and we thought we was. It felt like we was. But when we realized that we wasn't really ready was once we started to have children, because it was just way too much responsibility that went into that we wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, I don't know no other way but to take responsibility, because my mother and my father raised us wonderfully. I'm not ever going to sit here in front like my household wasn't well provided for. I don't got one of them stories where I could sit around in front about struggling and being in the hood and not having nothing. Yeah,
and you've never given that.
Nah.
I wouldn't say, because even like I said, when you first came out, it was relatable. It was in school. Mm-hmm. Y'all had a car. You had your sob story.
What?
So it wasn't like that.
Nah, we wasn't. I would never fabricate my past to be valid and credible in the street.
Why do you think people feel like in hip hop there has to be like this struggle story of growing up a certain way, and people will really try to make it seem like I was sleeping in the car, I was homeless, we didn't have anything. A lot of people do that and feel like that's where it has to come from.
I think a lot of the times it's a combination of things. I think I think like when I was saying it at the BET Awards during the Lifetime Achievement Award speech, when I was saying I directed a part of the conversation to the executives. And I think that there's been a conscious effort for a long time to make sure that certain artists, certain type of artists, and certain content can't even compete with the success of the narratives of suffering and struggle and broken home environment and hood and the environment that just ain't built on no code of ethics. Mm-hmm. That is a primary factor. Obviously, people going to do what's going to work, and then you're going to fabricate because you feel like that's what you got to do in order for it to work. Fortunately, you got a J. Cole and you got Kendrick, and you got dudes that, they put music out. You got Jid, you got Shmino, you got a lot of dudes that they ain't out here trying to fabricate like they've been in the street, sticking something up, busting their gun, and moving the most bricks, because they found a way to tell their truth and share their truth and be successful and make it a lucrative thing. But we was also raised in a time where the gangster and the hustler and the extortionist and the murderer and the shooter, they still had this code of ethics that was super, as crazy as they might have been. You can't see somebody moms that live on this block and all of the goons that came off of this block know that they've been knowing this mother since they was shorties. Right. Moms come off of the Beef 35 on Church Avenue in Troy in East Flatbush, and she got shopping bags when she get off the bus from a full day of work with her ankles swollen, and dudes that smoking their weed and cigarette don't put it out. Right. And throw it away and go help moms with her shopping bags and walk her to the crib and bring it upstairs and put her grocery away and greet her as Mrs. Greene or Mrs. Smith or whatever her last name is. And
always show respect.
The respect it wasn't even, you actually would get your ass bust if you didn't put the spliff out when you seen everybody else do it. Mm-hmm. After we let moms get upstairs, we let the neighbors' moms get upstairs. If you didn't do it, we come outside, you was getting your head bust one time. It wasn't even a discussion. So you knew it ain't a discussion. You don't make the mistake again. This is what's going to happen every time. Mm-hmm. So with that, there was integrity even outside the house. Okay. There was accountability in a real way outside the house. You can't at somebody and talk disrespectful to them from a social media platform. You talk disrespectful, you was going to get seen, or somebody was coming to pull up on you and you was going to get dealt with because you had to stand on that shit that was coming out your mouth. Last but not least, if you was in the street as a shorty with the big homies and they eventually seen potential in you because you was able to either get nice with sports in some kind of way or you got nice with the music in some kind of way.
They're going to keep you out the street.
They're going to keep you out the street because they actually want you to help them get out the street. Right. By getting legit, becoming successful, and drag my ass through this shit too. You know what I'm saying? Let's open some businesses, even if the businesses ain't legit. I'm going to wash my money through this little clean as if you put me on as a manager or something. But whatever the case may be, it was done to push each other forward in a productive way, even if you came from that. A lot of dudes in our era who parents bust their ass to make sure their kids didn't need. My parents was parents like that too. We got in the street anyway because we grew up around dudes that was in it, that we knew our whole life. We trusted those dudes because we knew each other.
And those are people you look up to also, the older people.
When they succeeded in that street, we did look up to them. Yeah. And not only did we look up to them, they genuinely cared about us. We genuinely seen them care about our parents. We genuinely seen them care about the other parents that was on the same block. And these is the people that we knew. So you did things and you got involved with things because you liked the excitement. Right. You wanted to be a part of what you saw that the people you was familiar with was a part of. You ain't do it because you had to do it. We was straight. We wasn't broke. We wasn't hungry like that. Yeah, I ain't like the kicks that my mom's might have bought me. She was on some pro kid shit forever. You know what I'm saying? When the homies pull up with the Pumas and Adidas and the Bally's and the Clarks and the Wallabies, I wanted those. So if my mom's ain't gonna do it, then I gotta get to this bag with the homies so that I could go to school the way I want to look.
Right.
So it became a little more of that than actually needing to do it.
Yeah. No, and speaking of which, I want to get to the album, right? So you started off with the statement. And, it's been over 30 years since you started off in this business, which I'm sure in your head you could never have anticipated where you would be today. You're in a space where you don't need to do this.
That's a fact.
Right. You love to do it, but you don't need to do it. How is writing different when it's not something like when you were younger, like you said, this wasn't something that you necessarily wanted to do from the beginning, and then you were forced into like this solo career. How is writing different now when it's not something that you have to do, but it's something that you just love doing?
It is the best and the most happiest and joyful time of my life because several reasons. The first reason, which is the most important reason, is exactly what you said. I'm doing something that I don't have to do because I've been tremendously blessed for so long. I'm in an amazing space just in terms of what I was able to do with business outside of music, my finances outside of music, and having a wonderful team of people that help me create this little universe outside of music. But when you don't have to do it and you still love it and you want to do it, and that fire is still burning in your soul from a passionate place, actually it's burning even more because of the fun that you're having and the joy that you're having. And I'm getting more flowers now than I've ever gotten in my career. All of these awards and accolades and selling out Carnegie Hall with the incredible gentlemen from Earn Your Leisure and Robert F. Smith, and then sending that electricity through the room when we did the 50th anniversary Grammy performance at the top of the year in February.
Isn't it amazing?
It's from that performance all the way down. This entire 2023 has been magical for me. You know what I'm saying? Just coming off the tour with 50, and that tour was incredible. Google campaigns, Google Chrome campaigns, just smashing all of the festivals from Something in the Water to Strength of a Woman with Mary, Lovers and Friends with Usher and them down in Vegas.
And you got a six-pack?
Six-pack is back. Talk that talk. Queen, women gonna want to lick on these. Facto.
It's amazing.
It's a really beautiful feeling to feel good, to look good, to still be able to sound good, to be able to walk in your purpose, give artists that's younger the answers, mentor, guide them, those that's willing to embrace and pull up. And I'm fortunate enough to have always embraced, so whenever they see me, they want to pull up. Whenever I see them, I want to pull up.
People be so excited when it's Busta. They're like, oh, I got to get a picture with Busta, do you think? For real, like out of anybody, because as an iconic artist, but you're just very well loved.
Thank you, Queen.
And even with the people who work with you, I feel like from the beginning of your career, I haven't heard a story of Busta Rhymes falling out with this person. Seeing you even make the announcement about the album and seeing like Pharrell, Timbaland, Swizz, who else is going to pull all of those people together?
Thank you, Queen.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Sometimes it's like just dream come true on unfathomable levels type shit going on. Definitely the blessings that's being bestowed is in an abundance from the Most High. I ain't never going to sit here and try to dance around that. It ain't a man thing what's happening. Yeah, obviously you conduct yourself in a manner where you are a giver of love and respect, and I'm super consistent with that. Even if there's an issue, I'm going to address you with it. I'm not getting on the record to talk to nobody on no social media about something that I know I could reach out to you directly about, which allows us to maintain the integrity and the respect we got for each other, even if we ain't seeing eye to eye in any situation.
Right.
Because there's no disrespect publicly that you now got to fix publicly. And, the way I was raised, if you do have the opportunity to reach me, which I'm super accessible, unless you giving me an energy that makes me feel like you're not welcome in my space. there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to find a way to get in touch with me.
All right. Well, on that note, Benzino has some things to say about Coi Leray being in the video. He didn't like how she was dressed, and he felt like you should have reached out ahead of time. And so, what do you think about that?
My thing, first and foremost, is Benzino has my number. He knows how to reach me. You ain't got to address me about nothing on no social media because you got my phone number. Number one. Number two, I've never had to address him about a problem, and there's been plenty of different issues that we've actually went through that led to actual violence. With him and Dave Mays and situations that transpired that we was able to resolve civil and respectfully, because the beef wasn't even with Benzino, but obviously he got to ride with who he moving with, and we riding with who we moving with. But the point that I'm trying to make is, up until probably right now, this is not public information. I'm not saying this to promote the issue. I'm saying this to promote how the code of ethics was upheld and how we dealt with issues. We resolved it as men and face to face. We wasn't on social media. We didn't talk on the radio, and we all had records out. Made Men was putting out records. He was co-owner of Source Magazine. But for me, the reason why I also felt like it was good to deal with things in that way, not only because I was raised that way, but if we really gonna live by the proper code of ethics that we was raised on, then why are you incriminating yourself talking about any conflict that you got with anybody on a social media platform or on the record anywhere? Talk to the person. That's the man thing and the grown man thing to do. And lastly, I actually appreciate a lot of things that Benzino might have done in the past. I think a lot of the times, even though we don't always agree with each other, I think Benzino did a lot of good for a lot of artists in the past. That Source Magazine was like a Bible. You feel me? And there was a lot of people that wanted to get on that cover. There was a lot of people that felt like they had a problem with the way their mics was being rated on their album.
Definitely.
There was a lot of people that felt like they wanted to perform at the Source Award that didn't get a shot. Benzino made sure that I hosted the Source Awards like 2-3 times in a row. I got my covers. I got my great mic ratings. If there was something that was done that I ain't like, if I had a disagreement with Dave Mays, Benzino would come in there and mediate that. So I can't sit here and say Benzino didn't do right by a lot of artists. So for me, I recently checked on him before he voiced his opinion, and he hit me back and was congratulating me in what I was doing with Coi, because I don't have nothing to gain other than to see the people and their kids that I know.
Right. You didn't think it was anything harmful because I mean, you call her sis in the,
sis.
your little sis.
Yes.
And it's a video.
Yeah, I'm not ever gonna compromise the respect. Not only me and Coi age difference is not. That's not what I do.
It was more of a protective, like, this
I'm
is
big
little
brother.
sis. Yeah.
I'm protecting my sister. She's a superstar. She's in the industry as a woman where she's dealing with a lot anyway, and she's somebody that I got a history with. Benzino, a pretty good history with, father. So I just feel honored to not only hold his daughter down and hold him down when I can as a brother and as a friend and as a resource, but I feel like she earned that love and respect from me because I am a fan of Coi Leray.
Right.
Coi Leray is brilliant to me. Coi Leray is a superstar to me. Coi Leray is a Taurus like me. I understand how she deals with things, and I'm a fan of it because she's also a great listener. And she's a great communicator. And, if you felt like she was dressing inappropriate, the two things I'm not going to do is try to control people. I ain't going to tell you how you should do things. I'll give you my opinion, but I ain't going to tell you how you should dress. You're a young woman now. You ain't you taking care of yourself. You're a superstar. She's selling multi-platinum records. So I got to respect her space. I'm big bro. I'm not dad. Let dad and daughter communicate directly about whatever they feel needs to be made as decisions. And I'm going to play my position. and I'm going to be a support system, and I'm going to be a resource, and I'm not going to overstep my boundary.
Right.
I got daughters, so
Yeah.
I'm going to move accordingly to how I'm going to move with my own daughters. And, again, I don't judge what or how people feel about things. I may not agree with how they go about things, but again, the one thing that I feel could have been handled differently
is reach out.
Reach out to me.
Right. We speak. You have my information.
Factamundo, Queen.
Right. One thing I saw you trending for was the Burna Boy collaboration.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, first of all, like I'm from Brooklyn.
No
so
question.
I'ma always love
Brooklyn. Talking about, son.
So I'ma always love when you do anything that sounds like that. Of course.
Thank you, Queen.
And I feel like just even the way that you're able to cross genre into like do your patois.
Thank you, Queen.
So I see all the Burna Boy fans are going crazy. But you said that being in the studio with Burna Boy was one of the most incredible experiences for you.
That's a fact. Let me just say this. The way the moment happened, I got to see Burna move. I respect when you understand and you in tune with the feeling in the moment. I'm excited when a beat make me feel like I want to get to it right now. Sometimes I come up with the magic right there, sometimes I don't. It's my first impression. You get to make a first impression one time.
Mm-hmm.
I did the cameo in the video with Burna that he blessed me to be a part of with the Big Seven, and Benny Boom was directing that. Me and Benny Boom had just finished working on a video in Miami for the Busta album. Benny comes back to New York, and I was still in Miami, but the day that I was getting back, he was shooting the video. So when I landed, I hit him about the video that we did in Miami. And I was like, what you doing? And he was like, I'm shooting a video right now, downtown Manhattan. And we at this pizza shop, we doing a scene right now. The concept of the video was this. And he went in front of Biggie crib, and he pulled up on RZA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like y'all era is present in this video. So I was like, all right. He said, pull up. Come get in this shot. So I go over there. I do the shot with me in the pizza shop. We having a great time, laughing, joking, we vibing. And this video is done, and I'm going to the studio. So I asked Burna, what you dealing with? And he was like, he ain't doing nothing. I said, come to the studio. So he's like, I'll meet you over there. Cool. He meets me there, give him the information. We get in the studio. We just vibing and playing music. He got a bunch of joints for like 4 or 5 features, collabs, remixes. One of them was Taliban remix with Byron Messiah.
Oh, yeah.
Before it came out. So I heard how he bodied that, and I was like, this is a disrespect what you did on this record, because he just sledgehammered it. Then he played me 2, 3 other, and all of them was with Caribbean artists, dancehall artists. So I'm saying to myself, let Burna hear some of this Busta album.
I mean, this is the perfect time.
Word. Let you hear some of this Busta album. So I press play. I'm like, one song, we bugging, 2 songs, turning up more. 3rd song is the Pharrell joint, Robo Shatta. We spazzing over that. And so he wanted to keep hearing joints, so I played about 2, 3 more after that. Then he was like, yo, you got the session here for that Robo Shatta? And I was like, absolutely. So I had a complete song already done to it. So I removed the 2nd verse, and he immediately was like, I'm going to deal with this right now. So I'm like, all right, I'm thinking it's going to take some time. I step out the room. I go to the bathroom. I come back. The door's locked. I can't get back in my own room.
I need my...
So I said, I ain't going to disturb him, because for whatever reason, my cameraman was going back and forth. And I don't think he wanted the cameraman in there with the camera in his face while he was recording. It wasn't an issue about me coming in there, but I didn't want to disturb him because I'm hearing the zone through the door, and I'm like, this is sounding stupid. And I don't want to interrupt how brilliant this is sounding. Whatever zone he in, let him stay in it. Probably like a good 30 minutes pass. Door unlocked. He sent somebody to look for me so I could come in there and hit a verse. I get in there and hit a verse, and he goes, yo, this is my it's my first take at it. So don't judge me. And he started laughing. So I'm laughing too, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna judge you, but I'm already knowing because I heard what I heard through the door.
I already was at the door.
When I'm at the door, like he violated the joint, but I didn't hear the everything, so I'm waiting to hear the everything now. The ad libs, everything added to it. He press play. He starts off calm, and then he gets to that turn up part where he raises his voice. And it's the automatic put your gun finger in the air and bust your gun with your legal shot like you in Brooklyn in the dance hall for real. And we like this when that's playing and hey, we start doing all of the, we start carrying on like we in Biltmore Ballroom or we in Starlight Ballroom. Like these is like legendary dance hall clubs that you would go to back during the Reaganomics era when crack was booming in the street.
The Arc.
The Arc. Y'all don't know nothing about that. You know about that? That's what I'm talking about.
2 blocks away from there.
That's what I'm talking about. Like Burna Boy sounded like he was in that zone all the way on the joint. So for me to watch how he put it together in the moment, it wasn't no overthinking. He gelled with the whole vibe of the record flawlessly. He took it to another level to me as well. And it was done super quick.
Listen, thank God for modern technology, because back in the day, right, you wouldn't have been able to just be like, let me just take my thing. I have it right here.
Word, now that's a fact.
Back in the day in the studio, you had to have like a...
The 2-inch tape machine. The 2-inch reel.
You gotta be like, hold on, I gotta go get it.
You know what I'm saying? The dude got to line the tape machine to be able to play your 2-inch tape.
People have no idea what that has to be like.
Super.
And then if you lost it, it's just gone forever.
Yeah, yo, that's really crazy, and it's ill because like even with you saying that, it's just bringing me back to memories where the internet wasn't even around yet. You had to FedEx your 2-inch tape reel.
Everything used to get leaked ahead of time because there was no way to
conceal it or hide it.
Yeah.
And even though those was the days and those challenges was real, the one thing that I do miss is the analog warmth of that 2-inch tape reel, the way it makes you feel. If you notice, there's a difference between the records that James Brown made and how they felt, and the records that Aretha and them made, in addition to the soulfulness that they was creating, which only could come from a feeling that you understood during that time, going through that struggle they was going through. It made them sing with a different pain in their voice. But that tape, it makes the music, it enhances the feeling of that. That analog tape sound enhances the soulful, the way it captures the soulfulness of any and every artist. That soul that's in what you doing, that tape catch it the most incredible, more than any digital technology.
And it also requires you to be there. Like you think about Wu-Tang and how they would record their albums, everybody was there.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't just email it, I'm going to send you back the vocals and you put it on.
Real
it really
talk.
did require people being in the room together.
That's a fact. And I think with that being said, that is a part of the magic that happened with Busta album.
Yeah.
I was in the studio with Quavo in the studio here in New York. Shinsia pulled up on me here in New York. Mm-hmm. Me and the baby was in a studio in Santa Monica in Los Angeles together, and we did every back and forth bar in one session for the whole song in one night within like 4 hours. Chris Brown, I went to his crib when he sang on my record and watched him lay them vocals. You know what I'm saying?
That's a different type of feeling.
It's a different type of feeling on God. It's no feeling like being in there, being able to vibe with each other and give each other inspiration in the moment. It's the dopest feeling ever.
And look, I always look at you and Old Dirty Bastard were on a lecture at the same time.
Absolutely.
And collaborating together and being in the studio together.
Absolutely.
Those have to be wild times.
Incredible times, wild times. We done had some stories that we shared with each other. You've been an official part of the Wu legacy during that time when I was first getting with Old Dirty. Mm-hmm. You was with them. So we was getting with both of them. And I've known them since 91, 92, because I knew them again before the Wu came out. I didn't know nobody outside of Jizza, RZA, and Old Dirty though.
Right, they had that group all in together.
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew them three, and then when Wu came, that's when I got to meet Ghost and Ray and Deck and everybody else. But I knew them before Wu, and then when Wu came, they came with the first album in '93. Leaders came in '91.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing how long I've known Old Dirty before we got with him, and he put out Return of the 36 Chambers in '95, and I put out The Coming in '96. We literally grew together in this shit, not just as brothers and friends, but both as members of the 5% Nation of the Gods and the Earths. Both coming from these groups, both being Brooklyn kids, and us actually growing in this together and evolving together. The stories that we've shared before we got on the record tonight, Angela Yee, those was the priceless gems and the memories that we both experienced firsthand watching our genius brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's our brother, Angela. Old Dirty's your bro. That's my bro. I love that dude. Like, you can't tell me nothing wrong about a song.
You remember where you were when you heard what happened? Because I remember they had just did that show in Jersey that night. Dirty missed the show, and then he was in the studio.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were like, oh, Dirty Bastard passed away.
Yeah, I was just, excuse me, when I heard what happened to the God, I was just flying back into town from Los Angeles. I just got to my crib, but just dropped my bags. I was going to the studio. In the transition to the studio, I heard, refused to believe it, refused to accept it. Tried to get in touch with RZA, couldn't get the God on the phone. And then I think that somebody really confirmed it on the radio and told the driver to pull over for a second. I lit a cigarette. I shed a tear. I was super angry. And I tried to reach out to Isoline and salute to Isoline too. You know, when I had the God on the ELE2 album, because Asan got on the last album and Isoline cleared that, and RZA, he actually gifted me with those vocals on Asan. It was strange being in the studio and having a cappella vocals of him and using outtakes that the world never heard.
Right.
And it sounded like he was in the room with us because, you know, in the beginning of the song with Slow Flow, when we did that on ELE2, he wasn't here. Obviously, he was gone already, but when I went to go see RZA in LA at the time, and he gave me this incredible moment of Asan in the studio with these outtakes of him talking and joking, when he says, "Bet you won't let me love you." Yo, I want to do my new rhymes and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know them shits. It sounded like he talking to me in the stool when we was in the Wuha session, and he wasn't writing the rhymes for 6 sessions until he decided he was in the mood to work after 6 days of not doing nothing while we trying to come up with this Wuha remix, and then he finally bodied it. It's like, damn, when I'm listening to him talk, it's bringing me right back to that time when I was in Soundtrack Studios with him trying to finish Wuhan Remix, and it was emotional for me because he not rhyming, he's just talking. You know what I'm saying? When he did that, and I use it at the top of the song, so you could just hear him by himself speak. I'm like, damn, this ain't even a song moment. This is just him talking to me, and I'm feeling like I want to respond to him, but he's not here to respond. Like, that was a really ill moment for me, and there was so many other outtakes that we obviously had to choose between which one was the right one and which one wasn't. That you sit there and you listen and you hearing him breathe while he's in between the talking, and it's like, God damn, this is we ain't never getting this back.
Right.
It's a terrible feeling, but I'm you know, I've had my time to process that long time ago, and you know, I'm just super proud to see his son out there with the gods, looking like him, putting his hair up like him, moving like him, representing his legacy so beautifully, because I was on that tour to see Young Dirty go out there and deal with repping his father in the most incredible way.
Sometimes I also feel like it's the biggest blessing to have even been able to know somebody.
That's a fact.
You know, there's so many people that I've never had the opportunity to meet, but when you've had the blessing to be able to have really experienced people in real life and have your own like special moments and stories to share, I think that's
super true. Like that's the greatest blessing. You know, and when the blessing, when you identify with that blessing, man, and you know that that blessing is greater than man, the magic that happens in real life is being given to you from something greater than us. That's like when you identify with that, you appreciate it so much greater. And I think that the fact that you identify with that, Ange, and I try to make it very clear to people that the blessings ain't stopping, so we ain't stopping damn near every single post I put on my gram every single day. Because I'm super appreciating my blessings in a different way at this point of my life. Knowing Old Dirty was a tremendous blessing. Knowing all of my Wu brothers, a tremendous blessing. Nas, a tremendous blessing. 50, a tremendous blessing. I've had my biggest experiences in the last 2 years just being on the road with bros that I know 25 and 30 years, where we pull up and we work, and it's the most pleasurable experience because ain't nobody in that young, ignorant, ego-driven space no more. Ain't nobody.
What you need me to do?
Word, word. That's what it is now. What you need me to do? How can I help? I'm a resource to you. Let me remind you. Use me, brother. Whatever it is, just send me my marching orders, and I'm pulling up front and center, ready to salute. Like that's how we giving it up for each other. Nobody got no egos that need to be checked at the door because it's already checked from years ago in our life. Mm-hmm. We ain't even bringing it nowhere with us no more. The respect everybody understands that needs to be given to each other is prioritized every single day without thought. It's just instinctually what we do because everybody done earned their right to passage when it comes to their respect. It's garnished what you stand on and represent as a man, the way you're supposed to be respected. Anything that falls short of that, the accountability needs to be times 10 because you know better. Everybody know better now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it look extra bozo. it's like Supreme Force bozo. If you pull up at this stage of your life trying to act stupid with another man that's like your brother, your like that you've known for 35, 25 years, 30 years. Like that shit, it actually sounds stupid. That's, to me, I just love that. That's where we all are at in our life at this time. And that's what it felt like being on the tours. And that's what it feels like being in the studios. That's what it feels like when we just holler at each other just to say what's up. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing. Blessings, like you said, Queen.
Well, listen, look, I know that we could, because there's so much I didn't even get to. You got to come back for like a part 2.
I promise I'll come back.
I want to talk about Flip Mode Squad.
Absolutely.
You know, because Rod Digger is my girl from like back in the day.
Big up Rod Digger. The Queen just got married last night.
What? Last night?
Last night. She got married yesterday.
Stop
from
playing.
Today. So if this is coming on tomorrow, you know what I'm saying?
Well, shout out to you, Rashia.
Word, big shout to Rashia Fisher.
Rashia Fisher.
Birth name Rashia. Sweetest person. Had no idea.
But with all of that, we got to talk about, I mean, you got to come back. That's all it is, like, period. Because I feel like there's so much I didn't even get a chance to. It's just too much. I can't even.
Yeah, this is, me and you, and we, this is the first time Earth that me and Angela Yee is actually getting to build like this, y'all. I love this woman, and I respect this woman, and I'm super proud of you and your growth and your evolution. It's definitely a testament to you understanding How to be swift and changeable in order to stay remainable, Greene.
Oh shoot, I like that. Can we isolate that and make that? Okay, we got a song. But no, honestly, for real, like there's so much. It is really such an honor for me to have you on here. When they were like, it was tentative on the schedule, I was like, Lord, please let this happen for me. But there was just so many things that I want to get into with you. So we definitely are going to do it again. But I want to congratulate you on putting out this amazing project. I saw the great responses that you've gotten online.
Thank you,
You have
Greene.
some. I mean, when I saw Bia, that's when the song Beach Ball had already came out.
Right.
So I was talking to her about that when I
Right.
saw her in LA.
It's
And she
beautiful.
was telling me how excited she was to just even be working with a legend like yourself. And so,
Super love Bia. And you know, for me, I don't think a lot of people know she put in her 100,000 hours before she got on.
mm-hmm.
Like, I remember seeing Bia in the studio 10 years before her first single, in the studio with Pharrell.
Yep, she was signing Pharrell.
You know what I'm saying? Just sitting in there waiting when she could get her record recorded. And eating a half a hero sandwich in the stew and in sweatsuit and all of this beautiful and sexy that she's evolved into, and how she's coming to her own as this incredible artist and this incredible woman. And
She's an international artist too. Like
that's the part that I
yeah.
love so much.
Mm-hmm.
And she is comfortable displaying her comfort being on her international, from working with EDM dudes to working with the artists from the UK to
Yep.
her last
Latin
project.
Grammys.
Yeah, you know, it's like she and be spanking them though. Like she's spanking everybody in this way because she ain't scared of the diversifying. So big up to Bia. Love my sis. Big shout to Coyle Ray. Love my sis. Big shout to Quavo. Love my brother. Big shout to Moray. Big shout to the Landlord Gigs. My brothers. Big shout to my kids.
Yeah, don't forget them, please.
Can't forget them. Trillion.
They're on here too.
Salute. C. Rye. Love y'all. I gotta give a super salute to Young Blue and Blast. Blue Vandross and Blast. Big
I love
them
that
up.
song.
Big up Chris Brown. Big up Shensia. You know what I'm saying? Am I forgetting anybody?
Kodak.
Kodak Black.
Young
Kodak
Thug.
Black.
Young
T-Pain.
Thug.
First of all, Freak Thugger. Big up Thugger. And we're going to definitely make sure we send the right energy and love and light in the
His child started
universe.
today.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. We gotta all collectively send the right energy, the right love, and the right light, and put the most supportive energy into the universe for Thug while he's dealing with his trial, being that it officially started today.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful to Thug, and it's interesting, man. Thug is, like 2 days before I had to finalize the album so that the CDs could get made and the vinyl could get made, Thug had a different verse on the joint. And we had to send it back to him so, we could give a final approval on it and get it cleared. He like, I got the word back. Nah, I'm denying this. And I'm like,
What?
2 days before we needed 5 weeks to make the CDs and the vinyl. I can't, no, ain't no running around town for nobody else to get on this record and be perfect for this record. He said, I ain't denying the record, I'm just denying this verse. I said, yes, that's what I'm talking about, dog. The crazy part about it is I get a call. I got to big up Geoff, and I got to big up the engineer. I forget his name, man. I got to remember his name. But they was so helpful, and Thug gave them the green light to send me some other verses. But I had to send them the song without that verse there so they could place the other verses.
Okay. Wow.
He sent me back like 5 dope options. And I picked one, and Thug said, nah, I'm keeping that for myself.
We got to get this done.
I'm like, Thug, come on, B. But
That's amazing that he has that much music in the stash, too.
Yeah, that's
that they could be like, here's 5 options.
Yeah, incredible. His stash box is retarded. Like, Thug, he's like us, though. He loves the studio. He's a studio rat like all of us. Like, we love to be in that studio cooking up, even if we ain't got no project. It's therapeutic to be in a stew. It's a peace of mind. It's a tranquil space. But overall, from the women to the male artists that pulled up, the producers, all of the producers, my brother Swiss Beats, Pharrell, Timbaland. I'm super grateful to y'all for not just giving me the production on the album, but executive producing it and making sure that everything else was conducive with the standard that they set with the first 6 records that we recorded.
What a trifecta that is right there.
Unbelievable, right? Super unbelievable. But I'm going to tell you something. Angela Lee, I need to pull up again and again and again. I need to get a whole lot of incredible stories that I feel need to be shared, because it's not only my truth, it's my truth that I'm finally comfortable with sharing.
I know. That's what I was saying, right? Because I could hear that on this album, and even in interviews that you've been doing, and even just the honesty talking in Men's Health.
Yeah, no question.
You know, that story that you did and being really honest about things like that, sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. And I feel like we come from an era of privacy, too.
That's a fact.
And it's different now.
Yeah.
But we come from that era. But when you get to a space where you're really happy and comfortable, it makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely, Queen. And I've been in that space at the highest level for the last 2 years, and it just continues to become more and more and more amazing and brilliant. And man, I'm gonna just continue to share. You know what I mean? I'm gonna share it.
Because people are like so inspired by all the interviews that you've been doing.
Thank you, Queen.
I've really been seeing all of that. Like, oh my God, this Busta Rhymes interview just, changed my whole life, my whole perspective.
But
that's
Queen.
Important to be in a space where you can do that for people.
Absolutely, Queen. And I'm just grateful. I'm happy for the love, that the way people are receiving my truth, my vulnerability, the time that it took for me to get comfortable enough to share it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just glad that I'm able to do it on my own terms and do it when I'm really in a place where I can stand on it, good, bad, or indifferent, as far as how other people might see it or view it. Obviously, the goal and the objective is to inspire people, make sure that we all can guide each other in a way that we can avoid stepping in shit piles that we can avoid stepping in.
Right. Listen, because there's been some nasty things happening.
That's a fact, Queen.
Right now. And
it's real nasty.
Yeah. And people will tell you, like, the business is just like that. That's not true. Like, every man does not act a certain way. They'll be like, oh, that was the error. Guys just did that. That's why, this is all happening, because it's just a different time period. But wrong is wrong, no matter what that time period is.
That's a fact. But I also feel like there's two components when it comes to that. Wrong is wrong, and accountability is definitely the justice, which is the reward or penalty for one's actions or deeds. Mm-hmm. That should happen regardless of time frame. But that same reward or penalty for one's actions or deed, if the allegation ain't actual fact, it needs to be held accountable in that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think both ways.
That's my point.
But when we see a lot of people saying something about somebody and witnesses and all of that, it is... Because I see people saying, well, why did she not say anything? And about women in general, they'll say that, when it happened. And it's not easy to step up and be vocal when somebody's in a position of power.
Right.
To be able to perhaps stop your career, even, who knows, even something worse, where people around you are even scared to speak up at the time, right. And it's not even happening to them,
Well, like I said before, I just feel like I can't ever really speak from a place where I'm not informed. We can always have our opinion and perspective. I feel like when the truth is undisputed, at the end of the day, the show and prove is going to be brought to fruition. I like to stand by.
Accountability on all ends.
Yeah, on all ends. The truth that's undisputed. It's like, for example, you do something as a man, you need to get your head dealt with. Derek Chauvin is going through that right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It don't matter what a courthouse said. He got to deal with something else.
Accountability.
There's something else happening with him. He can't run from that.
Yeah.
22 years, he got to sit in there and deal with that. That's greater than man now. Man gonna do it, but the thing that you put in the souls of the people, it is affecting something deeper than just the man's act. You going through all type of things internally before you even go through with the act. So that you gonna have to answer to that, yes. But it's like the young lady as well that faked her kidnapping.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was wild.
It's like we living in a different day. The era we come from
was wild.
It wasn't a lot of this happening. I'm not saying that anything is good, bad in the process. I'm just saying when it comes to the truth and the show and prove, that's ultimately the best part.
Mm-hmm.
I like to just wait and look at it from that perspective too, because it's a real ill feeling when people prematurely judge, and then if the truth comes out that exonerates the person that you was really judging terribly against happens, and now this person is back in the place that they need to be in, or they got the resolution that they needed and that they wanted, and everything is in a better place. Keep the same energy when you looking like a bozo too, prejudging.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I just know as a woman, it's hard for women to come forward. There's so many more people who would never say anything about things that have happened to them.
I agree.
And so that's a difficult thing. So I just want to always make sure that people feel safe to be able to share. Some people will want to share their story and they don't get anything out of it. It's not easy to put yourself out there because no matter what, people always think you're lying too. There's always going to be people who think you're lying even when you're not.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know, so either way, it's not an easy position. But.
I got daughters, Queen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm defending them babies in the most unfathomable way. God forbid.
Right. God forbid.
God forbid. So I'm with you on that 1,000,000,000%. And I'm also, as a man,
mm-hmm.
you know, I've had to deal with, and you know, us as black people, a lot of the time, you know, what we've just been subjected to historically, the senselessness that we've lost life behind
mm-hmm.
just because of being accused or just
false
being
accusations,
handled in a way that was so undeserving. It's the worst thing in the world to know that even when you realize that the person that destroyed this life and the many lives of a family by falsely accusing this person that didn't even deserve and doesn't do anything or even historically have
mm-hmm.
a behavior pattern that warrants being handled in this way.
Right.
And you take this life from his family, you take this life from that person.
And there's no accountability. And there's no ever bringing that person back.
There's never even no, and the person that actually doesn't get held accountable and gets away with it.
Lives their whole life.
They live their life and then they get pop off like that again. And it's just, we've had to deal with this historically since the inception of this whole, you know, government infrastructure. You know, this might be a can of worms that we opening now that we ain't got the time for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I definitely feel like there's a lot of this that we are at this space in life now where we got to start feeling a lot more comfortable about talking about, because there's a whole lot of politics involved with trying to control what you can say now and can't say.
And I think it's okay to say things and get corrected on them too. I'm okay with that. And to have a difference of opinion and not agree.
Right.
And I think all those things should be okay. I don't condone people attacking people or saying,
none
you know,
of that
but
ain't
I
cool.
also like having an open mind and listening to what other people have to say.
That's actually the way it
mm-hmm.
should be. You know, at the end of the day, we are all brilliant minds that should be able to express the brilliance of our mental capacity. And an opinion is not a decision, and an opinion is not a judgment.
And a lot of it comes from our experiences, because your experience as a man who is an artist in this business, you've seen things from a different light than me as a woman who's been in this business. So
Absolutely.
I might look at something a different way that could make you be like, okay, I could see that. And you might look at it and I'm like, all right, I understand your point of view.
Absolutely, Queen.
And so it's all about experiences that we have. But we're going to do this, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we definitely ain't stopping. And what's so dope about this vibe session with you today, it's like, for me, it's like there's moments that just they organically dictate the growth and the evolution of a friendship. I really and truly feel like there's been a growth in our friendship today.
All right. Well, this was Busta Rhymes, my new best friend.
Nah, real talk. This is dope. It's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to sit around and just talk if I ain't comfortable with you to just talk.
Right.
We got things to do.
I was like, how am I going to top Drink Champs? No, I'm kidding. I can't do that. But, shout out to Nori and EFN. Love you guys.
Big up to the bros, man.
Well, thank you, Busta Bus. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss Boss Lady Angela Yee. Let's get to it. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it growing.
All right, it's way up.